excellent afternoon and magnificent evening. This is Carla from Rehan Allahwala's World of Connections. And I am honored to speak with the freelance guru of Being Guru about freelancing. And I don't need to introduce him to the people in Pakistan, but for other people in the world, you are going to meet the famous Hisham Sarwar. And you don't know how thrilled I am to speak with him. Having said that, I want to remind you this show, like all of my interviews, is sponsored by the Institute of Peace, where we connect the world and promote peace one conversation at a time. Hisham, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Carla, for having me on the show. Hey, greetings, everybody. My name is Hisham. I'm a freelancer, a freelance instructor, a social tech entrepreneur. I am a blogger, a YouTuber, and that's about it. I guess wear 5 hats for now, alongside doing some, social projects as well. But primarily, I live on internet, to say the least.
How did you get into the world of freelancing that you are in now and so well known for doing?
Carla, this was a pure accident. So it started in late 90s, 1998 precisely. I was laid off from my job. And the reason I was given that, I'm not good at communication skills. Since I was a customer services representative in one of the telecommunication company here in Pakistan. So it's been a pretty roller coaster ride ever since, for the at least for the next 1.5 years, before I accidentally discovered a website where I could render my freelance services as a graphic designer. And that's the beginning of my freelance journey, where I switched from one website to another, started experiencing some success, and never looked back. I've been self-employed since 2002, and no complaints.
Were you originally a graphic designer? How did you get started?
So I learned graphic designing as a backbencher who used to design sketches of the teachers. So it just sort of like, I got better at it as I started creating more sketches. And I used to create landscapes, nature primarily, car models, even though my family could not afford a big one, but I had this, huge liking for Mercedes-Benz and Lamborghini, and I used to design those cars, sketch those cars on paper. And then when I discovered computers, when I say I discovered computers, I refer to learning graphic designing software such as Adobe Photoshop or CorelDRAW or Macromedia Freehand. That's where I realized that I could actually use my sketching ability and transform that into a computer-based software. So started learning those computer-based software, and started offering my graphic designing services to different marketplaces as a logo designer, as a brochure designer, as a catalog designer. That's what I have done for the most part of my life.
Were you an artist as a kid who enjoyed drawing a lot? Or
come again? I lost you for a second, Carla.
Were you an artist or wanting to be an artist as a kid?
No, that was not the idea. As a teenager growing up, I did not want to become an artist. I wanted to join military. Uh, and then I've gone through different phases in my life. So there was a point where I wanted to join military, but I was too young. And when the right time came, I didn't want to go in armed forces, and I wanted to become, be a businessman. Never in my wildest of dreams I thought I would be I'd be an artist selling my design work on the internet. It just came as an accident. Like I said, I was laid off from my job, and it was a customer services job at a front desk in one of the telecommunication company. And back then, in late 90s, telcos were quickly surfacing up as a prominent business because everybody was quickly adapting to this wave of acquiring cell phones. Smartphones were not born then. Apple was still a fruit. iPhone was not born, and BlackBerry was still a fruit. And we had those amazing te- telecom phones. So when I was laid off from a job, I had to do something. And then, while searching for my dream gig, came across this freelancing career as a graphic designer, and then just sort of like evolved in my niche over a period of time. Evolution is something I'm proud of because of that particular evolution and learning new skills and adapting uh, to the change. The world was quickly equipping itself with. I guess I just sort of like never missed out on an amazing new opportunity. So evolution is something I'm more proud of rather than being a successful freelancer. But yeah, never wanted to become an artist.
So you didn't draw at home and play around with.
I just sort of like dwelled into opportunities that came my way.
When you say opportunity, you mean just changes in life, things have moved you in some direction?
Perhaps going with the flow would be the more appropriate term to, tag here. I just sort of like went with the flow all my life. I'll be brutally honest here. No bragging, no exaggeration. I just went with flow. So perhaps grabbed opportunities with both hands as the life offered me. And that's it.
And graphic design just came because it was something that came to you as something to do.
It is. I mean, got to do something. So I wanted to take up a career as a graphic designer. And since I started making money, thought to excel in this field. It was never thought out uh, or planned out, niche for me or a career for me for that matter. No, not at all.
Now, is life ever planned?
I guess as someone who puts a lot of premium on accuracy of things, uh, if you plan it, it might just sound a little better.
Because I look at my own life, and if someone had told me I would be doing what I'm doing today, 4 years ago, I would have been laughing at it. Obviously not.
Go with the flow is the test here.
I'm just wondering, in talking to you, is life more of a flow, or is it more of something that we plan out and it goes how we want?
Look, we've got to identify our goals. I mean, that's given. That is given. You got to identify your goals, but the process it takes or a roadmap you would have to. I would probably, as someone who's not a perfectionist, I would probably go with the flow to reach my goal, whatever it takes. But let's see if I get a bit of uh, I get a little off-road, or if I get to experience different unforeseen circumstances uh, in the process, I'll take that. That's me for you.
What was your goal when you first?
So there you go. The goal was to be standing at a point where I'm acknowledged for whatever I do. And the goal was to do something that makes a substantial difference in people's life. The road I adapted, the roadmap I had is just a part of the process. But eventually, I'm glad I'm here. And that was the goal 20 years back, to be recognized uh, for what I do or what I've done, and most importantly, making a difference in people's life, be it a military career, be it as a uh, artist, or perhaps as an instructor. So never thought I would choose one particular career. And I'm still not sure about my future, to be honest. But eventually, the goal is to make a difference in people's life.
And that's what life is about. We're all at service to those around us. And
Yes.
that kind of really excites me because we're not here for ourselves. It's like the painting. You look at the painting, the painter did the painting. Are we honoring the painting or are we honoring the painter?
Paint here. The world is a stage, and we all are artists here, as Shakespeare quite rightly put it. So, got to perform a show, do it for others, make sure they applaud your performance, and in the end, you make a difference. That's what the priority should be. At least that's what my priority is.
That's it's amazing. Now you are called, or your company is being Guru.
Yeah, that's good.
How did you come up with that name?
So, as someone who cemented a very solid place as a prominent freelancer on one of the world's largest freelance marketplace called Guru.com, since my story was revealed to the world primarily by the local blogs and mainstream television, that here's a guy who's ranked in top 10, and he's from Pakistan. So something we are, in my part of the world, back then, every small achievement was taken as a big story to fill up the mainstream news, as well as to, brag about it in blogs and news. And since my story was an inspirational story of a guy who made his country proud, achieved a huge milestone of being ranked in top 10 out of millions of freelancers. So therefore, it got me in the limelight, and people started recognizing me with the name Guru, even though the achievement I have earned was on the platform Guru.com. And few years later, when I was planning to create my blog, Being Guru, my own platform, it sort of like dawned upon me to have something that associates with the tag they've given me, with the label I'm usually and commonly known for, which is Guru. So being was something I just came up with, and then therefore the name was born, beingguru.com. Primarily because of the label they've given me as Guru of Freelancing. So wanted to have my own tag, my own brand, and came up with beingguru.com.
I know when I first heard about you, when I saw Guru, and I thought, what is this guy doing? And I think Rehan answered it and said, oh, he's the guru of technology. And I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah, you should talk to him. And of course, that was 3 years ago, and it took 3 years for us to really connect. As the guru, what is your prime purpose to teach people? Is it freelancing? Is it learning how to grow your business?
It has got nothing to do with growing my business. I don't charge people. I don't offer any paid courses or paid trainings. Far away from that, to be honest. Everything I do is for free, and that's for my own people. Even though I charge outside Pakistan or for my physical presences when it comes to brick and mortar presences, but as far as the internet-based trainings are concerned, they are absolutely free. So I don't do any business here. That being eliminated from the equation, I'm left with uh, growing myself, learning along the process, and helping people grow. So that, these are the three takeaways from uh, from my journey, and that actually adds fuel to my drive. It actually drives me forward to see people progressing. It inspires me to come across amazing stories all across the country, uh, that how my internet training has helped people in not only learning skills but also making money and being able to make ends meet, and how awful their life was before meeting me and getting training from me, and how substantially I have changed their life uh, after training them. These amazing stories all across the country, they actually drive me to do what I've been doing for the last 4 years, and this seems to be the priority as long as I can do it for the rest of my life. People, you know, letting you know that you've made a difference. And when I wash the mirror before I sleep, there are no regrets. At least I've done justice with my purpose of, with my purpose of existence, that I'm useful for the people around me. And this gives me more encouragement. It inspires me to keep on doing this on a larger magnitude, so that I can raise awareness about internet-based businesses to the larger audience. Let's see how long and how far can I go.
Now, I've spoken with Rehan because I do my shows. Basically, I've become a talk show host. Never thought I would be. And in becoming a talk show host, we talked about me possibly doing freelancing. How could what I'm doing end up as a freelance gig? Or isn't it really possible?
Now, it is possible, uh, but if you look from another perspective, and that perspective would be, I would encourage you to keep doing this for perhaps a year or so more, gain more audience, gain more viewership, and then in the long run, uh, charge for sponsorship of your videos. So you're literally telling these sponsors that, look, I've got so and so audience, they watch my shows, and in the backdrop, you can have your a company or an organization advertisement displayed, and all of a sudden there would be so many eyes watching your advertisement, and they might just buy from you. Now, I came across this idea uh, a few months back when a friend of mine visited me in my office, and he requested me to create a short video about opening bank accounts for freelancers in Pakistan. And without realizing the repercussions or the after effects or the outcome of that video. I recorded that 1.5 minute video and requested the audience to sign up for that particular bank if you want to open an account as a freelancer, because opening a bank account as a freelancer back then it was a problem. Few days later, in my group Learn Freelancing with Hisham Sarwar, to my utmost surprise, Carla, I got to know that uh, thousands of people signed up for that bank and opened an account. And I realized how a goof I've been. I should have, forced, there should have been a foresight here, should have foreseen the future. And then probably would have monetized that video in a way that, I would probably charge the bank in question to pay me for the sponsorship fees, maybe in the form of sponsorship fees or whatever capacity I could come up with and monetize that particular content. But I realized that as you grow and have more viewership as a digital content creator, which you are, Carla, if you get more viewership, and you can only get more viewership if you're doing this regularly, if people benefit from your shows, down the road, perhaps a year later, you can monetize your videos by getting in some good sponsors and their logo being displayed in your backdrop, and people get to know about that brand, and in your video you can talk about your sponsor, by giving them a shout out for 1.5 minute and asking people to buy from them or maybe use their product or service. This works in big way. Tony Robbins recently did an amazing virtual show, and he did not charge the audience a single penny. And then, instead, he monetized his content by selling out the advertisement space to the advertiser. And I'm glad, I've got to know about this so that I can pass this knowledge to you. Grow your audience. Keep doing this regularly. Make a change in people's life. When your viewership grows, you'll be able to monetize your videos.
Now, my viewership, I didn't want to get into my story. My viewership was really, really good until all of a sudden Facebook took me off of Facebook Live. And it was happening like I'd be off, then they'd let me on, and then they'd kick me off again. We have no idea why. And everything went down. What would you suggest I do to bring it back to where it was? I used to have thousands of people reached for my shows.
Do not stop. Even though it's a Facebook blunder, but do not stop. Keep doing this. You'll get your viewership back. I've seen many people suffering directly from Facebook direct or indirect ban for one reason or another. But I've also seen people getting their viewership back. A lot of local brands are getting their viewership back. So keep doing this. Somewhere in January or by the end of January, Carla, or by the beginning of February, things will, get better for all the content creators. So hang in there and keep doing this regularly.
I plan to. I love it. I mean, when I saw I could get you today, I wasn't going to let it go. I had to do it. So, this is a passion for me. What is your biggest passion in doing this? Is it doing the YouTube? Is it doing the Facebook?
Honestly speaking, I'm at crossroads of not enjoying the live streams anymore. There's no drive, and when there's no drive of doing something, I guess it's better to let it go. So I'll be honest. I mean, I've arrived at those crossroads where I do not get that drive of doing the live streams. But if you ask me to choose a platform, Instagram still wins in a long way. I love Instagram over Facebook or YouTube. I don't know why. Maybe the Gen Z that uses that that platform, they engage in better over Facebook. So maybe there's a takeaway for you as well, Carla. You may want to give it a shot at Instagram and see if you can educate people with your content. Because the Instagram audience does not use Facebook. They are Gen Z,
Oh,
generation.
really?
It absolutely came across this stats uh, a few months back, and I categorically asked my audience if they use Facebook, and many of them said no. Then that's where I had this eye-opening revelations that Generation Z doesn't use Facebook. But they're an audience, right? They're numbers. Why would you miss out to them? And I started using Instagram regularly. I started creating content for Instagram, be it pictures or videos, and it has been working wonders for me. So you may want to give it a try and see how it works out for you.
Actually, I began using Instagram more when I was doing more Clubhouse, when I was off of Facebook. And yeah, things began to grow.
Yeah, and one last advice, since we're still on that topic, do not overkill multiple platforms. By this, I mean, do not waste your energies on platform that would not make any difference. Clubhouse, I'll be brutally honest, uh, as I see it, would not be a reckoning force of social media platforms in the near future. Even though Elon Musk has participated, maybe a couple of short appearances by Bill Gates, but I honestly speaking do not see Clubhouse as a reckoning force in the near future. I could go at length to solicit my comment, but let's leave that for another day. I would honestly advise you to focus on Facebook and Instagram. That's it. Don't worry about any other platform for now. Build your audience these two platforms.
And to be honest with you, I really stopped doing anything in Clubhouse.
Wonderful.
Because it's chatter. It's so much noise. I liked it, but I just cannot stay there for any length of time.
Right decision, Carla. Right decision.
So, any other tips? Because what you're telling me, I also feel applies to those who are watching right now.
Perhaps as a voiceover artist, you can sell your services as a voiceover artist on websites like Fiverr.com. Maybe maybe you could give it a shot.
I don't have any experience with that.
That's fine. I mean, all you are supposed to do is read a script and do voiceover and charge for your time.
Maybe that's worth taking some time to do.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't see a harm in not giving it a try. I mean, and it's pretty simple as well. I'll educate you how to do it. So it's not that complicated.
When can we talk about that?
We can talk about this sometime by the end of December or early January, because I'm resuming my roadshow starting Tuesday, and I'll be busy for the next 3 weeks. But we can do this in early January. Don't worry about it.
Can I put you in my calendar to call you in the early?
Let's do it. Let's do it, Carl. Let's do it.
That would be wonderful. And it would be fun to do.
As a matter of fact, we will take you live. I'll take you live. And in the process, I will let you know the reason why I would be interested in taking you live is because when I talk to you and when I teach you, I'll be teaching many others as well. So let's do it in my group.
Absolutely.
Sometime in January, let's do it. You can lock your calendar and remind me in first week of Jan, and let's do it. No problem.
You got me. No question about it. You got.
And as Lewis of Superman says, okay, you got me, but who's got you?
I don't know who's got you, but you got me.
So Superman was airborne, and Lewis falls from the building, and he catches her and says, "I got you." So Lewis says, "Fine, you got me, but who's got you? You're in thin air."
I haven't watched a good Superman show for long, but I remember as a child, my brother loved Superman, and he's a lot older than me. But I would watch Superman and good old.
It's actually the very first episode. Nobody knew what the icon is supposed to do, what the character is supposed to do. So we didn't, Superman 1 is what I'm talking about here in 1983. I guess it was not even 1983, 1979, if my memory serves me well. So that's where the famous dialogue comes from, Superman 1. I've got you. Okay, that's fine, but who's got you?
I love it. Now, I know it's late where you are, and I really do want to keep you, but I also want you to talk to me again. So,
Sure.
are there any words that you would like to leave our audience with?
The only takeaway from what I've experienced over the years, good or bad, subject to separate discussion, but the only takeaway I've experienced is life is organic, it is not linear. Some days are good, some days are not so good, but never leave up, never give up on yourselves. Uh, Leave your comfort zone, keep doing what you are doing, be consistent, because eventually, if you are uh, persistent, you will get it. But if you're consistent, you will keep it. And if you want to keep it, consistency is the key word here. Uh, Honestly speaking, once again, I'm going to repeat the word. Life is organic. It is not linear. Um, you got to experience the ups and downs in your life, part of the package as a human being. But if you, in the eve of uh, your success, give up, that's where you'll be doing a great uh, injustice to your true potential.
I'm
Keep
not
moving
giving
forward.
up.
Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward is the word here.
I really enjoy what I do. Sometimes I get angry and say, yeah, but it lasts for maybe a minute, and I'm thinking, oh, I got to talk to Hisham Sarwar, or I got to speak to some really cool person, and I'm right back where I was 2
I
minutes
hope you enjoyed
before.
the conversation, Carla.
Excuse me, I didn't.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
I loved it. I want to thank you so very, very much for taking the time tonight to talk to me. You have no idea how much this means to me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And with this, let me remind everyone that this show is sponsored by Rehan's Institute of Peace, which creates peace or promotes peace one conversation at a time. And if you want to support me, look at my Patreon page, The Giggle Lady. With that, can we wave goodbye? And thank you so very, very much, Hisham.
Pleasure is all mine, and thank you for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure beyond pleasures.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to sign off now, and thank you everyone who watched. I really appreciate that.